What if I told you that while everyone's obsessing over blockbuster trades and million-dollar signings, the Toronto Maple Leafs might find their next breakthrough player hiding in plain sight among college graduates that nobody else wants? With August 15th marking the deadline for teams to sign their drafted college players before losing their rights forever, could Toronto's salvation come from the most overlooked corner of the hockey world? The forgotten deadline that could change everything. Mark your calendars, hockey fans, because August 15th represents one of the NHL's most underappreciated opportunities. This isn't just another administrative deadline. It's the day when teams must decide whether to sign college players they've drafted or watch their rights expire into the abyss of free agency. While it might not generate the same headlines as trade deadline chaos or free agency frenzy, this date has historically produced some genuinely impactful NHL careers. Remember the Justin Schultz sweepstakes? How about the Jimmy VC feeding frenzy that had multiple franchises desperately courting a college forward? While neither player became a superstar, both carved out lengthy, serviceable NHL careers that provided significant value to their respective organizations. For prospect-starved franchises like the Toronto Maple Leafs, these represent exactly the type of lottery tickets worth purchasing. The Leafs currently sit 7 contracts below their maximum allowable limit, though they'll need to address Nick Robertson, Dennis Hildeby, and Philippe Villeneuve's contract situations. This creates a perfect storm of opportunity: roster flexibility, organizational need, and a marketplace full of overlooked talent that could develop into legitimate NHL contributors. The beauty of this market lies in its unpredictability. Most of these players have completed their full 4 years of NCAA eligibility, with some even utilizing the COVID year for a 5th season of development. They arrive as more mature prospects with extensive college experience, making them potentially safer bets than traditional junior-age draft picks. The cautionary tale of Dakota Joshua before diving into potential targets. Let's examine the perfect cautionary tale that should haunt Brad Treliving's dreams. Dakota Joshua. The Leafs drafted Joshua in the 5th round, then happily dealt him to St. Louis, so the Blues could sign him before the August 15th deadline. Fast forward to this summer, and Toronto just paid a 4th-round pick to reacquire the same player they essentially gave away for free. Joshua's numbers and trajectory at the time didn't suggest he'd become the effective NHL player he is today. Nobody was losing sleep over Toronto's decision to move on, and this isn't about damning the organization for that choice. Instead, it's a stark reminder of the importance of using available resources, whether NHL or AHL contracts, to get extended looks at players who might fit your organizational philosophy. The Joshua situation perfectly illustrates how player development rarely follows linear paths. College players, in particular, can experience dramatic growth spurts that traditional scouting metrics might miss. The lesson for Toronto is clear. When you have contract flexibility and organizational depth, taking flyers on intriguing college prospects isn't just smart roster management. It's essential insurance against future regret. The standout targets worth pursuing. Let's examine the cream of this year's crop. Started with Jack Hughes. Not that Jack Hughes, but the other one trying to live up to an impossibly famous surname. The 21-year-old center from Boston University carries the burden of expectations that comes with sharing a name with one of hockey's brightest stars. And his college career has demonstrated just how challenging that comparison can be. Hughes' final season at Boston University was his strongest, producing 25 points in 40 games with 7 goals. As a former second-round pick, he possesses a highest draft pedigree in this group, which naturally generates curiosity around the league. Boston University runs a deep, competitive program, and sometimes talented players get lost in the shuffle despite possessing NHL-caliber abilities. The Leafs should also consider Matt Capone, who posted nearly identical numbers to Hughes in a similar role. At 5 feet 11 inches and 22 years old, he might lack Hughes' draft pedigree as a 7th-round selection, but he represents another center depth option that could develop within Toronto's system. Jack Barr presents a fascinating case study as a 6 feet 2 inches right-shot defenseman from Harvard University. His name immediately caught attention when scanning the available free agents, not just for his size, but for his potential connection to the Leafs organization. Barr played for Chicago Steel, where current Marlies boss Ryan Hardy served as general manager. That familiarity could prove invaluable in evaluating Barr's character and development potential. Barr's NCAA statistics suggest a defensive-minded defenseman, which aligns perfectly with the Leafs' recent development philosophy. While he might not offer flashy offensive numbers, his fifth-round draft status combined with organizational familiarity makes him an intriguing AHL development project. The statistical standouts Cameron Berg might represent the most compelling statistical argument in this entire free agent class. The 23-year-old center from University of North Dakota demonstrated his professional readiness by scoring 2 goals in his first 3 AHL games with Bridgeport Sound Tigers after completing a dominant college career. Berg's final college season produced 22 points in 26 games, following an impressive 37 points in 40 games the previous year. What makes Berg particularly attractive is his goal-scoring ability, a rarity among college free agents who typically rely more heavily on playmaking. At 6 feet 0 inches and 192 pounds, he possesses legitimate professional size and seems like exactly the type of calculated risk that smart organizations should pursue. Dominic James from University of Minnesota Duluth offers similar production with more positional versatility. Having spent significant time on the wing, his adaptability could prove valuable in Toronto's system, where players often need to fill multiple roles. Justin Janik represents the classic late bloomer success story. At 21, he's younger than most players in this free agent class, but his breakout 34 points in 38 games for Notre Dame last season suggests he's found another developmental gear. After never exceeding 16 points in his first 3 college seasons, Janik's explosive improvement indicates the type of untapped potential that organizations dream about discovering. The intriguing Bloodlines and Projects Red Savage carries one of the most recognizable names from the 2021 draft as the son of longtime Montreal Canadian Brian Savage. After transferring from University of Miami, Ohio, Red produced 27 points in 38 games for Michigan State during his junior year, numbers that dropped to 11 points in 20 games this past season largely due to injury concerns. While the statistical regression is concerning, his breakout junior campaign might provide enough evidence of his capabilities to warrant organizational interest. Sometimes players need the right environment and coaching to reach their potential, and Toronto's development system has shown success with similar reclamation projects. Jackson Coons presents another intriguing option despite experiencing his own statistical decline in 2024-25. At 6 feet 3 inches and 227 pounds, he embodies the power forward archetype that Brad Treliving has consistently pursued throughout his executive career. These types of players often require extended development time, but when they reach their potential, they become invaluable playoff assets. The realistic expectations and organizational fit, it's crucial to establish realistic expectations for these potential signings. None of these players should be viewed as immediate NHL solutions, nor should their availability be interpreted as organizational rejection by their current teams. The NCAA free agent market operates under different dynamics than traditional professional hockey, with many players choosing to complete their education before exploring professional opportunities. These prospects won't be the next Adam Fox, Zach Hyman, or Isaac Howard, players who made seamless transitions from college to NHL stardom. No general manager is losing sleep over any of these specific players reaching free agency, which means they should be evaluated primarily as AHL development projects with potential upside. However, that doesn't diminish their value to an organization like Toronto. With only 1 draft pick currently scheduled in the top 100 selections next year, a 3rd rounder, and just 3 total picks in the entire draft, the Leafs desperately need to supplement their prospect pipeline through alternative means. The development philosophy of these players are seeking fast tracks to NHL opportunity. Toronto probably isn't their ideal destination. The Leafs' organizational depth and veteran presence make immediate NHL roster spots extremely competitive. However, if they're looking for meaningful AHL development opportunities within a professional organization committed to player growth, Toronto offers significant value. The Marlies provide an excellent development environment with strong coaching, modern facilities, and a clear pathway to NHL consideration for players who demonstrate consistent improvement. Several recent examples, from Mac Hollowell to Bobby McMahon, show how the organization can nurture overlooked prospects into NHL contributors. For players willing to embrace the development process, Toronto's system offers exactly what college free agents should want: professional coaching competitive environments, and genuine opportunities to prove their NHL worthiness through performance rather than pedigree. The strategic timing advantage, the timing of this opportunity aligns perfectly with Toronto's current organizational needs. With questions surrounding several prospects and limited draft capital, augmenting the system through college free agents represents smart resource allocation. These signings cost nothing in trade assets while providing potential long-term value. More importantly, the Leafs can afford to take multiple calculated risks. Rather than placing all hopes on a single prospect, they can sign several players and let internal competition determine which ones deserve continued investment. It's a portfolio approach to prospect development that maximizes the chances of discovering hidden gems. Conclusion: mining for gold in overlooked places, a college free agent market represents everything smart organizations should embrace. Opportunity disguised as afterthought, potential hidden beneath statistical mediocrity, and value found where others aren't looking. For the Maple Leafs, these signings won't solve immediate roster concerns, but they could provide the foundational depth that championship organizations require. Sometimes the most important moves happen in August rather than July, in college rinks rather than NHL arenas, and through development rather than acquisition. The question isn't whether any of these players will become stars. It's whether Toronto can identify and develop the ones who might become valuable contributors. The Dakota Joshua lesson should resonate throughout the organization. We have flexibility and opportunity. Taking calculated risks on overlooked talent isn't just good business. It's essential insurance against future regret. What's your take on these potential signings? Should the Leafs aggressively pursue multiple college free agents or focus their limited resources elsewhere? Which of these players catches your eye as the most intriguing development project? Share your thoughts in the comments and hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into the Leafs prospect pipeline.